Yeah, I think there may be 3 or 4 or 5, 10 bags left, yeah, of leaves. Should be able to clean them up today. Yeah, all right. Gotta go. Welcome to maple leaf tree cleanup time. I got this great big tree out in front of my house. Gazillion bags. Oh my gosh. Anyway, that's my problem, not yours. Welcome to Season 5, Episode 25 of Niagara 411 Live with Sterry. We are fueled by Gales Gas Bars, supported by Sandra's Home Healthcare, Verge Insurance, Equal Wellness Services, as well as our most recent sponsor, glad to have them on board, Mac Outpost. We are ensconced here in the lovely Fiddler's Poorhouse, 149 St. Paul Street in downtown St. Catharines on a beautiful November the 27th. What a nice day we got. Powered by WeeStreem, by the way. And we'll talk to Kevin a little bit more about that, find out what WeeStream is and what it does, etc., just in case you've been living under a rock and haven't heard about this. Now, we have a really jam-packed show coming up today. A lot of people coming on. You might remember, well, I'm sure you do remember, back in January of 2023, there was an explosion at a company called Ssonix in St. Catharines. And a young husband, Ryan Konkin, was killed in that explosion and an incident that took place. There has been some very significant movement in that case over the past just couple of days, as a matter of fact. We're going to be speaking with Ryan's widow. Nati's going to be joining us in just a couple of minutes. A really exciting development happening at the Toronto Power Generating Station, that's been lying dormant for many, many years in Niagara. And David Adames from the Niagara Parks Commission is going to be joining us for that. And Lucas Bahdi, now still an undefeated fighter. He was on the undercard at the Jake Paul Mike Tyson fight, which garnered a gazillion viewers, etc. Well, Lucas was a part of that, and we're going to have him on the show as well. So we got a lot going on, and in about 30 seconds we'll tell you more. Come on in. Hey, here we are. Yeah, I had to wear the jacket today. It was a little cool outside, but man, for November the 27th, we're looking good. I don't know if you've been following any of the weather pattern stories that are happening in the U.S. and Canada, but over the Thanksgiving weekend in the U.S., there could be some issues going on. Happy Thanksgiving, by the way, to all of our United States friends. You all are going through some challenging times on a lot of different levels in the United States, and we wish you all reasons to be thankful and safe over the next few days. The single most highly traveled weekend in the United States, year after year after year. Also, the biggest shopping weekend, the whole Black Friday stuff and all the rest of it, but and travel is going to be difficult with some of the storms that are happening. We've got some snow coming into Ontario as well over the weekend. Niagara, it looks like, is going to be spared most of it. We might get a few flakes, but we're not going to get any of the really difficult stuff. So anyway, as we head into a weekend, again, a happy Thanksgiving to our American neighbors. It's going to be an interesting few years of Thanksgiving weekend celebrations between Canada and the United States. We have, as I mentioned in the introduction, an update on a story that has been lingering and just bubbling under the surface of the radar since January of 2023. So that's almost 2 years ago now. in January of 2023 at a company called Ssonix. A young man in his 30s, mid-30s, showed up at work that day. His wife dropped him off. And he showed up at work. He opened the door to go in for his shift, and the world exploded in his face. Ryan Konkin was transported to hospital, where unfortunately he succumbed to his injuries. And it was just 24 to 48 hours ago that there were some people arrested in relation to that incident and charged with various things, mainly negligence. That's the post that you're seeing up right there. Steve Baker, 60 years old, Sharon Baker, 61, both of Petersburg, Ontario, as well as Tyler Baker, 38 years old, of Scotland, Ontario, were arrested and charged with the following offenses: criminal negligence causing death, arson by negligence. Give me a scroll up down there, Kevin, a little bit if you could. All three were released on a Form 10 undertaking and are expected to appear in court on January the 3rd of next year at the courthouse in downtown St. Catharines. Joining us is a young lady that was courageous enough to come on and join us very, very shortly after the incident itself occurred, and has been with us a couple times since to give us updates on how she's doing and what's going on. Nati, we call her Natalie Sepulveda, widow of Ryan Konkin. Hey, Nat, how you doing?
Hi, thank you. I'm doing all right these days. How are you?
You're okay?
Yeah, as okay as we can be.
Right. So, as I said, you and I have chatted a few times over the last little while, but the issue at hand right now, of course, is the charging and the arresting of these three people that I was just talking about. Can you give us a little bit more insight from behind the scenes that perhaps has not been released by the authorities as to what's going on, what happened, and what you know to this point?
Well, honestly, as much as I know, you guys know as well. I was told from the very start that this was going to be a patience game, and I understood. However, just because of the way that everything was, each organization has to do their individual investigations. And so, to this date, I haven't seen a report of what's happened. I think this is all information I'm going to start hearing once court begins.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and really, that's as much as I know, because when the arrest took place, I found out after. So I received a call, and then I was let know that the process is going to start moving along now with federally.
Natty, how did that make you feel when you got that call?
I think I was and still am a little bit in a state of shock. I'm going to be quite honest with you. When I first, in the early days of all of this happening, I just wanted this to move as quickly as possible. I wanted my answers, and I wanted them to go to jail and pay for this. Um, because I held on to a lot of anger and a lot of pain. But when I got the news, I kind of just shook my head, and I said, okay, thank you. But I wasn't elated, because I know that this is also going to be a healing process of its own for the Bakers. Um, it's not an easy thing to go to prison, right? And you have a whole family now during the holiday seasons. And theirs is going to be almost reflected exactly like mine last year. Last year, it was a very sad
Yeah,
Christmas season. And
yeah.
I don't want anybody to feel those same painful emotions, but I do know that it's a part of justice. And for that, I am so grateful. But I also wish them wish them the best in this process.
Well, that's magnanimous of you to feel that way. Do you have any further insight as to what was what the chain of events was that led to this? I know these people have been charged with negligence resulting in death, but what were they or the business negligent in doing? Do you have any more insight into exactly what, when Ryan opened that door, what were the conditions? Do you have any more knowledge of that at all?
So, not the specifics. All I do know, though, was that there were fuels and a concentration of fuels. And so now, from what I gathered from like just basic chemistry, usually when you
Yeah.
add oxygen and all of that, that's what adds into an explosion. However, that's the explosion part, which I'm not too sure, like the logistics. From my side, from Ryan, he always messaged me. He always sent photos about what was going on at work, the safety conditions, colleagues, what they were handling, the types of chemicals and the ways that they had to dispose of, as well as things that would leak in. And so I always knew that he always had that fear that it wasn't a safe environment.
Oh,
We talked about it.
so Ryan was concerned before this terrible incident about some of the protocols that were taking place.
Yeah. And he was almost like the little goldfinch in the mine because he did come up to Steve and Tyler, all the bosses, and he would tell them like, "Hey, why do you have employees that are obviously not listening? And why do we do this?" And they just really wouldn't pay any attention to it. And that's what
Okay.
was heartbreaking because he did try to warn, and this incident
So
could have been.
he was the one that tried to be the so-called whistleblower, and he was the one that ended up paying the ultimate price.
Yeah, yeah. And he
Ironic at
would
its best.
take, yeah,
Part, yeah.
yeah,
Um,
and he would usually carpool and take a couple of his colleagues. He was usually the first one there before the bosses as well, and it's just he was so responsible at his job, and he was such a hard worker. It is it's cruel what
so
happened to him, the way that he had to pay that price.
yeah, cruel indeed. Now there is going to be a court appearance, as we know, in January, on January the 3rd. Um, I can only assume, and I'll be I'll be reticent to assume, but I'll do it anyway, that on that date it'll be more like an arraignment or a plan to go forward with some sort of case. I don't. There's not going to be any sort of case or testimony or anything happening on that date, as far as I would guess. Is that correct?
I believe so. I'm kind of just seeing how court proceedings typically go. I think this might be kind of the reading out of the charges, kind of proceeding on to setting up the next court date.
Yeah.
I know that this, with all types of court, it takes a while. I was told it might be 1 to 2 years as well.
Right.
And so, um, same with the last ones when it began last September. And so it's been kind of one session every couple of months. I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that this is a little bit
Right.
sooner. Um,
Now, we've spoken with you a few times over the last year and a half or so, and not with any of the other members of Ryan's family. How is his family doing? As a group, how are you folks doing?
well, part of my thing is a respect to Ryan as well. I've tried to stay very much in contact with Garrett and Nicole and our nieces and nephews. Um, but I do know that they really, really, really miss their brother. There were a lot of memories that they had growing up together, and there was a lot of things that they wanted to do together that was still left undone.
Right.
Unfortunately, because we all live so far away from each other, the opportunity to meet each other with Ryan wasn't there.
Where do they live, Nat?
They're out Saskatchewan and Alberta. So most of his
Okay.
family's out in Saskatchewan.
Okay.
But they miss him. His aunties miss him. His uncles miss him. And I've been fortunate enough to hear so many beautiful stories about him as well, and just kind of get a fuller picture of who really Ryan was.
Did you have a chance to, or have had a chance to communicate at all with Brian's co-workers or friends and associates from the job or elsewhere since this has happened?
I believe that the whole company came when Ryan first passed away, a day after we had a little gathering at Johnny Rocco's. They all came there to give their respects, but after that, I never saw them.
Okay.
I spoke here and there to one of his colleagues. I think it was mostly an initial shock as well, because he was the fella that would typically carpool with Ryan.
Okay.
So, as I said, this was going to involve a lot more lives. And so it was one of those things that we kind of digested and
So
yeah.
do you have a support network of your own here
Um,
for you?
I definitely felt so much support from the whole community here at the start of the year, my family and friends as well. Everyone was really, really nice to me. Um, but there got a certain point where I think I was isolating a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
mainly because when you lose a spouse, it's almost as if you're in a glass house.
Sure.
So everyone's kind of watching and seeing how good are you doing, how are you not doing good, like, and I think it's more we're a comparative species, so we want to understand how we react in certain situations.
You're right. Yeah.
But I
Um,
think now with more I'm more open to receiving that help, and that's been really good.
the last time you and I chatted, it was a more upbeat conversation because you had been able to, I guess, push the bad stuff away for a while,
Hmm.
and move on with your life. And you developed Ryan's coffee truck, and whatnot. Are you still pressing on with that? How has your last year been since we chatted?
Well, so much can happen in a year.
Oh, I know.
Um, so for sure, I the cafe was that driving force in the early days of grief as well, to get this out there and to
Right.
put her vision into reality. But after we closed down in September for the season, the winter started coming, and I studied something else. Ryan always wanted me to go back to school, so I went to do a doula course. And then I opened up the card again this season.
You did.
In I did, but it was only for a short amount of time. For personal reasons, I decided that it might not be the healthiest choice for me
Okay.
to continue staying on the property.
Right.
So I closed it and I started doing some private events, but I started shifting my focus to work with babies and mums. So that's mainly what I've been doing now, and here and there a few events, but I needed to kind of step away because
Hmm.
kind of disassociating into your work, how so many people do that with grief. And it's really good because everybody finds a way to do it, but it's self-imploding. You can only get so far until you really have to do the work and look.
Well, it's pretty obvious that you thought this thing through, and it continues to be a struggle. And our hearts and minds and prayers and all those epithets that people toss around certainly go out to you. Um, will you be attending that court date on January the 3rd yourself?
Yes, yes, I'll be there.
Okay.
I haven't missed a single one.
Okay, Natalie Sepulveda, thank you so much for, again, your strength and your introspection and your compassion as well for others that are involved in this. And I don't know what else we can say except to say that we're not going to forget about you, okay?
And I really appreciate you guys taking the time to invite me here to talk a little bit more about Ryan. I'm really happy that he's not getting forgotten.
All right. We'll stay in touch, and if you need anything, you reach out. All right.
Thank you so much.
You stay well.
Thank you. You as well. Have a good day.
Yeah. Okay. Bye.
Thank you.
Okay. Powerful story. What more can we say? We're going to move on with the program right now on a much lighter note for all of us. There is going to be yet another development of an old power station building related to Niagara, and this is the old Toronto power generating plant that has been lying dormant in Niagara Falls for such a long time. You know, the tunnel opened up a couple of years ago. We talked about that, maybe not even 2 years ago now, but now there's a whole new plan to develop the Toronto Power Generating Station. And we're going to bring David Adames on, the CEO of the Niagara Parks Commission, in just a bit to talk about it. But before we do that, I want you to watch this video because this explains what is going to be happening. And we couldn't explain it any better, or not even half as well, as this video you're going to watch is to another fabulous development that is happening here in Niagara. So have a look at this.
I'm standing here in Queen Victoria Park across the street from Toronto Power, above the iconic Horseshoe Falls on the upper Niagara River. Niagara Parks is very proud to announce the next steps in the redevelopment and reimagining of the historic Toronto Power Station. Toronto Power went into service in 1906, operated right through till 1974. For almost 50 years, the site has been dormant. The architect for Toronto Power was E.J. Lennox, who designed some very important buildings in Ontario, including Old Toronto City Hall and Casa Loma. It was constructed in the Italian Renaissance style. Today, it's a National Historic Site. Niagara Parks is pleased to announce the result of the request for proposal stage. We've identified the successful proponent as Pearl Hospitality. We have 4 project goals. Number 1 is to see the full restoration of the power station. The second goal is to create a new visitor experience to bring new visitors to Niagara Parks, to Niagara, and to Ontario. The third goal is to see an economic return to Niagara Parks through a rent payment similar to our arrangement with Niagara City Cruises and Niagara Adventure Excursions. The fourth project goal is to see a broader economic impact from jobs created during construction to jobs created during the operation of the new visitor experience. The historic $200+ million investment by Pearl Hospitality will transform Toronto Power into a new world-class guest experience. Key features of the fully restored Toronto Power Station will include Niagara Falls' first and only 5-star boutique accommodation, a variety of culinary offerings, free public viewing areas both indoors and outdoors, including a rooftop observation deck, a museum dedicated to the architect of Toronto Power, E.J. Lennox, a public art gallery and theater, event space, and educational programming. Pearl Hospitality has a depth of experience from similar projects of heritage restoration across Ontario, including the Ancaster Mill, the Cambridge Mill, and the Elora Mill. They have assembled an Ontario-based team to carry out the work on this project, including MT planners and Plus VG architects. Similar to Niagara Parks redeveloping the Niagara Parks Power Station, the heritage considerations are first and foremost in this project. After ceasing operation in 1974, the power station has been deteriorating for a number of years. Through this call for proposals process, Niagara Parks was looking to the private sector to not only reimagine and restore the power station, but also to bring their private sector investment. Pearl Hospitality will be investing an historic $200+ million into the project. We will be undertaking heritage reviews, archaeology, and consultation, leading to the groundbreaking in 2024 and the eventual opening of the brand new guest experience in 2027.
That is spectacular. David Adames, CEO of Niagara Parks Commission, joining us. First of all, what a wonderful video presentation of what the expectations are for the future of that amazing building. Welcome to the show, David.
Well, thank you so much, Lee, for having me on to talk about this this milestone moment in the restoration of this very important National Historic Site, as you called it, the Toronto Power Generating Station.
Yeah. First of all, I mean, the last time we were chatting, of course, it was about the that fabulous tunnel that was developed also in one of our heritage buildings on the Niagara River, right by the falls, and I thought that was spectacular enough. This takes this takes the whole development of that area to a whole new level.
It sure does. So Niagara Parks, we have stewardship of 3 decommissioned hydroelectric power generating stations. And to your point, we opened the Niagara Parks Power Station in 2 phases, the generator hall floor in 2021 and the tunnel in 2022. So now Toronto Power, and this is a $200 million plus, fully paid for by the private sector. So no government money, no tax dollars involved whatsoever in this. So the restoration will be undertaken by Pearl Hospitality, the creation of a new tourism experience, which is multi-level. 3, paying Niagara Parks rent, so there's a return to the public good. And number 4, having that broader economic impact. So this is a very important project for Niagara Parks, for Niagara Falls, and certainly for Ontario.
David, help us understand the genesis of these ideas. Obviously, you're the CEO of the commission, and a damn good one by a long shot that we can see.
Well, thank you.
Where did this vision begin for developing or putting out for tender the development of these facilities? Where did this all start?
So when the power stations were transferred over to Niagara Parks, that happened in 2007. So Toronto Power and the former Ontario Power Generating Station, they transferred over from the province, from OPG to Niagara Parks in 2007.
Okay.
The Niagara Parks Power Station was transferred over in 2009. So there's always, over the years, there was talk about repurposing these power stations. Then a few years ago, we undertook a visioning exercise with the commission, with our board of directors, and senior staff, along with some other Ministry of Tourism officials, also some consultants. So we just it was a dreaming stage in terms of what could be, what was the art of the possible with these power stations.
Who were the first people to ask those questions?
Say that again, sorry?
Who were the first people to ask those questions? What could this be? Who asked that question first?
I think that those were commissioners and different commissioners over time as well, because if you go back to about 20 years ago, or not quite 20 years ago, when the power stations were transferred over, there was always this notion that something would happen with the power stations.
Okay.
However, it didn't really move forward until very, very recently. So I think, again, with the vision of this current board, we went out to the market. This was a 3-staged public call for proposals. So we did a request for information starting in November 2021, then the request for qualification. So we want to make sure that whoever was bidding on Toronto Power had the financial wherewithal and also the experience in heritage restoration and the experience in the new visitor use they're proposing. They could make sure that it could happen. So we did that in 2022. And then the request for proposals late 2022 into 2023. So a very robust process, overseen by a fairness monitor to make sure everything was done.
From my perspective, one of the most, I guess, impactful elements of this is the fact that the development is occurring around an existing facility. It's not destroying and replacing, as happens so often with buildings and sites that have lain dormant as long as, like the Toronto Power Generating Station, et cetera, have for years. Probably one of the easiest things would be to just knock it down and put up something new. But the fact that this fabulous piece of architecture is being reimagined is just, it's spectacular.
It sure is. So Toronto Power, it's a National Historic Site. The architect, E.J. Lennox, was a very important architect in Ontario in the early 20th century. So he designed places like Casa Loma in Toronto,
Yeah.
Old Toronto City Hall, a number of other buildings. So this was one of his right here in Niagara Falls, the Toronto Power Building. It has such prominence on the Niagara Parkway. It's located, of course, on the upper Niagara River, where again water came in from the river to generate power, was returned to the lower Niagara River through the falls, if you will, through a series of tunnels. So to your point,
Wow.
to see adaptive reuse, keeping an architectural gem,
Right.
but creating something new is wonderful.
Well, I'm one of those Niagarans that has probably driven by those facilities since I was a kid, I don't know, thousands of times. And always drove by them or walked by them or whatever in wonder of what was and wondering what is. What's in there now? What, can I ever get in there and have a look at what's going? I always used to think that when I was like 5 years old, I'd love to go in that place, and now we're going to be able to. And that's another element that I like about what your presentation said when we watched the video, David, is the fact that it's not just going to be for people that go in and pay high rental fees for hotel rooms and facilities and restaurants and stuff. There are absolutely public viewing areas as well. So it's going to be open to those of us that have that kind of curiosity.
That's right. So a building that was utilitarian purpose, meaning industrial generating power, will now be open to the public. And to your point about free access, so that there'll be a free viewing area on the top, on the roof of the power station. So imagine the view of the Niagara River, to see the mist rising over the falls as well. There'll be a free museum in the power station as well, and a free viewing area on the back side of the power station. And even if you just want to come in for a cup of coffee in one of the restaurants, there'll be a number of restaurants in the new power station. Certainly there'll be a spa, a climbing wall in there, one of the old penstocks. There'll be, of course, the five-star boutique hotel. So lots of elements in this power station, which will create new tourism markets for Niagara.
Well, I just think it's a wonderful, wonderful move forward, and a visionary move forward. When these days a lot of dollars and cents considerations would prohibit such a thing, and as you said, this is it's private development money as opposed to tax dollars and those kinds of things. And Pearl, the company that is going to be involved with this, as you mentioned, they've got some pretty good pedigree behind them. What with Allura and what were the other couple of places? I know Kevin mentioned that he'd been to them.
Like Ancaster.
Ancaster.
And what they did at Ancaster and Cambridge, I mean, it's just beautiful how they maintained all the history of it, but were able to blend modern components without ruining any of the historic appeal. I mean, it's just beautiful work, and I was really happy to find that you've partnered with that same company, because if anybody's been to those facilities, it's just gorgeous the way they've updated them.
No, I couldn't agree more, Kevin. And this is a successful Ontario business story. They've grown from modest means as the third generation of the family who are now creating these new guest experiences. And if you haven't visited the Allura Mill, to see the town of Allura now versus what it was like before that mill was redeveloped, it's quite remarkable.
Well, I haven't been there since the new development has rejuvenated that community, but I was there a couple of times many years ago, and it was always kind of it's an overused word, but iconic Ontario quaint location. But to see it rejuvenated like that is kind of cool. So I have to go back now. So this is just again, kudos to yourself, to your board. I know Niagara Parks Commission has a new chair in Bob Gale. So I'm sure there are a lot of great things to come as the Niagara Parks Commission spreads its wings and starts to feel the love around here, and that's just very, very cool. Last question before I set you free to do your day job. What's the time frame for this, David?
Yes, so your viewers and listeners will be able to start to see some construction start very shortly, in a couple of weeks. So in the month of December, I think their first priority is stabilizing the roof for very obvious reasons. Moisture is not restoration's best friend, so I want to stop that rain and snow and other moisture coming into the building. they will start to repoint some of the stonework, and then the work will really get going in winter, spring of 2025. So they're very hopeful to open in the summer months of 2028.
All right. And as developments like this go, that's kind of a fast track. That's a pretty I guess what you might call seeable date. We can actually see 2028 from here.
Exactly, and again, you'll be able to see the restoration unfold because it is in such a prominent place on the Niagara Parkway. In fact, the office that I have at historic Oak Hall, I overlook the Toronto Power and the Niagara Parkway, so I'll be able to watch the progress right from here.
Okay. Well, I'm excited. I think we all should be. David Adame, CEO of the Niagara Parks Commission, again, thanks for taking out some of your valuable time to spend with us today. And again, congrats to you and the board and everybody involved with pushing this thing along. Great job.
Thank you, Lee. Thank you, Kevin. Take care now.
Yeah, you too. Bye. Kevin, that is it's just so good to see things like that. And this one is one that, to coin a phrase, we should be able to, when you look at the developer that's doing this, take to the bank. You and I, better than some perhaps, are certainly well aware of projects that have been proposed and sanctioned and then fell apart, and the developments went nowhere. Well, this just seems like something that's definitely going to come to fruition and do what it's destined to do, which is awesome.
I'm super excited for it.
Yeah.
And again, what they did with the other generator station and the tunnel, they took something that was dormant for so long and turned into a new guest experience, and that's exactly what they're going to do here. And they're going to do it, to the 5-star level. It's I think that's really cool.
Before we bring on Lucas, the Prince Bahdi, who has a fabulous story to tell as well, I want to acknowledge our sponsors before too much more time goes by. Gales Gas Bars Limited, fueling this program as our headline sponsor for many episodes. Now, here we are in Season 5, Episode 25. Already. Family owned and operated for 60 years or so, and shows no signs of stopping. Niagara-based petroleum company that always has the community at heart, serving the Niagara region with 11 service stations, full-serve, self-serve, for convenience stores, and all you have to do is go to gales.ca and find out all there is to know about them. They have a rewards program as well, and again, we thank them for supporting the very concept of this program, is in Niagara, by Niagara, for Niagarans, and nothing could tell their story better than that. Also, Sandra's Home Healthcare. We chatted with Sandra D'Alessandro last week on the program, and if you have not had a chance to see it yet, the video is up and archived on Niagara 411 as well. Just setting the bar as high as it can possibly be set and in a proper spot for home health care, formed to make sure that all home health care was tailored to the patient's needs, be it 24/7, be it medical management, whatever that is. Sandra's Home Health Care has set the bar for health care at home, where people should be looked after here in Niagara. Also, Verge Insurance Group, thank you very much. Home, health, auto, life, whatever you need, they are the brokers and can source out the proper protection for you at a price you can afford. Verge Insurance Brokers Limited, formed in 1953 here in Niagara, and still here over on Ontario Street in St. Catharines. Ace Alignment, for whatever your automotive needs are. They're located on North Street, just one couple blocks away from the point of my finger there. On North Street, off Geneva, behind the police station. Wheel alignment, suspensions, front end work, whatever it is that your automobile, be it exotic or otherwise, requires. Darren Miller, Matt Crompton are the two guys over there to have a chat with for whatever your needs are. We really appreciate the fact that they continue to support this program. Equal Wellness Services. Audrey the Foot Nurse is how she has been known for many years, and she expanded her business to include other holistic healthcare type type services, i.e. David Fast is an osteopath that works out of her location. Sarah Sooty is a psychotherapist that's there. And, of course, always foot care at the utmost, be it diabetic, be it pre or post-cancerous, whatever. Audrey Wall, the proprietor, 365 Vine Street in the plaza there between Scott and Carlton. And our newest sponsor that we are so pleased to have with us is the Mac Outpost for everything Apple in Niagara. All right, Apple sales and service has never been easier for your Mac, your iPad, iPhone. They're at the 353 Lake Street Westlake Plaza, which is the where the Tim Hortons is, across from Dawn's Lighting there at on Lake Street. The dollar store is in there. That's where Mac Outpost is, and believe me, these guys know their stuff. I'm a happy client of theirs, so check them out. Mac Outpost, thanks for joining us. This is their second sponsorship week. Lucas Bahdi, as we talked about before, the Prince. I didn't realize that Lucas was on the Jake Paul Mike Tyson card until after it happened. Lucas, welcome to the show. You got us loud and clear wherever you are? We have you?
Yeah, Lucas is just unmuting himself now.
Okay.
Isn't that like the classic thing? Yeah, you're just muted, brother.
There we go.
We got you?
We're on. Sorry about that, guys.
All right. No worries. Happy to have you here. First of all, welcome back to the program. Little did we know that your career would be flying like a meteor over the last number of months since we talked last. And Kevin mentioned that he had a chance to meet you at an event not that long ago, and found out you were going to be on the Jake Paul Mike Tyson card. First of all, tell us how that developed. How did that come about?
Yeah, thank you guys for having me again.
Yeah, sure.
Basically, I mean, from my point of view, it was just a matter of time before I hit the world stage, and I got a call in the summer, 3 weeks before an event in July. And I was basically called in as a last-minute replacement because of someone got injured on the Jake Paul Mike Perry card, and they called me to fight their top prospect.
Top prospect.
Yeah. This kid was he was at the time he was 11-0, and he was supposed to be the next Floyd Mayweather. They had very, very high hopes for him, and I think I kind of disrupted their plans with him. I ended up knocking him out, probably knock out of the decade, and it gave me a huge opportunity moving forward. And now I'm signed with Jake Paul's promotional company, MVP Promotions, Most Valuable Promotions, and it gave me the opportunity to fight on the Mike Tyson card, which is huge for me. It was huge exposure. It was an incredible experience. And moving forward, I'll be on all Jake Paul's undercards.
Now let's back up a little bit. Congratulations on all that, by the way. But I want to rewind a little bit here. When you were talking about the fight itself, you said that you knocked him out. I thought was it like a TKO, or was it a decision? How did that work?
Well, I'll just set it straight, Lee. And Lucas, I think this is probably where you're going. Lucas was bringing us back to the first fight where he knocked the snot out of that kid.
Okay.
And then that set the stage for Jake Paul Tyson.
All right. Now I got it. You confused me a little bit. Okay, so talk to me about the fight on the Tyson Paul card.
Yeah. So actually, originally I was supposed to fight a guy named Corey Marksman, he's fought on the MVP Promotions a few times in the past, and he actually had to withdraw with an injury. So this new opponent I had was the Italian champion. He was 14-0. He was an undefeated fighter. He had an IBF title as well. The kid was a very good fighter. He was a very good fighter. He was an amateur national champion out of Italy, and he came in and he put up a good fight. He was very, very tough, and everyone was kind of expecting a knockout on my end, but man, he was a tough guy, and he took a lot of big shots, and I ended up winning a decision against him. So I went 10 rounds, which is great for the experience. So I'm not mad at it, but hopefully next time I come out and get the knockout again.
10 rounds is were they 3-minute or 2-minute rounds, Lucas?
Yeah, I only fight 3-minute rounds.
Okay, so
Yeah.
so we're talking about a regulation length prize fight type event. 10 rounds, 3-minute rounds. And it was a unanimous decision, right?
You know what? It was a majority decision, which
Yeah.
I don't know what the one judge scored at a draw. I don't know what he was watching, but the other judges had it 7-3 and 8-2, which at the time I during the fight I scored it a shutout. But
Wow.
it depends on what the judges are looking for, right? Everyone has their own little criteria.
Well, you told us the last time we talked that you had great expectations and great confidence of your abilities and in yourself and where you were going, and it sure seems that you're headed there. What did it feel like to be in Texas at that stadium with all of the hype that was around this card for months before this event took place? And I know you were on the undercard. You weren't on the actual Netflix broadcast, but your fight was on YouTube, and we're watching it. We're airing it right now as we talk. You can't see it, but it is on the screen right now. Our viewers are having a look at you fight while we're having a conversation here. What did it feel like to be there? What was the atmosphere like?
It was an incredible atmosphere. I mean, look, never in a million years did I think I'd be fighting on the same card as Iron Mike Tyson. The hype around it is insane, and the viewership night of the fight was insane. It was
Crazy.
incredible. Like, they hit Super Bowl numbers in an arena that fits. I think there was 80,000 people there. So it was an amazing experience. It was an honor to be on the card. But this is something that I always visualized for myself, getting to these moments and getting to these big fights and big venues. So,
And
as much.
Sorry, go ahead. No, go ahead.
As much as it was an honor, and it was no surprise to me that I would be there.
Lee, can I just hop in here because I'm very curious
Sure.
about the viewership. I know there was a graphic that went out, Lucas. I was just trying to find it but couldn't, showing that this card pretty much 60 million, and the next closest everybody's hovered in at around 5.5 million. Do you know where the YouTube numbers came in for your part of the card, and were you in like the 10, 15 million?
No, we weren't. We were closer to the million mark, but even with like a million viewers, it's still like
Astounding
massive compared to any other event. Like, for instance, like a main event on an ESPN card, a main event they usually get about 500,000 to 750,000 views. So, we exceeded that on an undercard, which is insane numbers.
Well, congratulations on that. And when the other shoe dropped and the story continued, it wasn't just going on a big-time card and winning a big-time fight. You're now 18-0, and on top of that, you have been signed by the Jake Paul Promotions Company, MVP. Tell us about that happening.
Yeah, I mean, that was a huge step for my career. It was always my goal to get signed by a major promoter, and doing it, without like another local promoter getting me there. Me and my management, we did it on our own. So that's a huge step, because usually it's very hard to come out of Canada and get signed with a big promotion. It's very, very hard. There's very few to do it, and the fact that I got it done, I took the risk in the summer, right, fighting that prospect.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, look, I was a big underdog going into that fight. No one thought I was going to pull off a big upset, and I did it in such an extraordinary way. Like this knockout was shown all over the world. I was on every outlet, major outlet, media outlet. I was everywhere. So it was such a big exposure for me that it just brought huge opportunity. And now, Jake Paul's company is gonna be pumping me for the next 3 fights. So the sky is the limit. The sky is the limit. I'm gonna be fighting. I'm hoping to fight for a world championship in 2025. That's the main goal.
And that, I guess, would be I was going to ask you what the next step was, and I suppose you already answered that question, because that would appear to be what what the best case scenario is for your next step, is to work towards a fight like that.
Yeah, absolutely. As being a Canadian, we don't get the hype the Americans do. We don't get, a lot of the opportunities the Americans do. Just because I don't even know why they just get the opportunities before we do. Like you very rarely see a Canadian on the big stages like this, and if they are, they're coming in.
It's usually a matter of concentration, of population. The big machines, the big promoters, they all happen to be sort of concentric in the United States, as almost all of the entertainment business is. It's the same way in the music industry, the film industry, and all the rest of it. And Canada continues to make inroads in all of those segments of commerce, but we're still the little guy compared to them. And for you to break through that is absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
You're
Lucas,
exactly right.
I just want to hop in here. I mean, you guys are touching on commerce. At the end of the day, boxing's a tough go. You're essentially an independent contractor. Signing with MVP, what does this do for you money-wise? Does this allow you to train more? Does it allow you to dedicate more? Does it allow you to solidify your financial future just by
buy a new house, maybe?
Yeah. What does that do for you in reality? I mean, it's a big deal.
Absolutely. I mean, look, in boxing, you don't make any money until you're on the big stage. And I've been professional for 5 years, over 5 years now, and I haven't made a dime up until now. So, and that's not including obviously all my amateur experience. In amateurs you don't make any money. So I was fighting for over 10 years in the amateurs, and now over 5 years as a professional, and now it's just starting to pay off. Right now I'm starting to make a little bit of money. Now I could really focus on training, going to training camp, and traveling to get the best sparring and the best training out there. Lately I've been in Vegas. I've been in Vegas 4 times this year. I'm traveling all over to get the proper sparring and the proper training.
How are you funded? How do you pay for that?
I was all self-funded up until now. I'm making a little bit of money from my fights, right? So it's
wow.
It's starting to pay off, and it's only going to grow from here.
That's dedication. That is for sure, because a lot of people wouldn't have traveled that hard road, my friend. So kudos to you for staying in there.
Yeah, you have to really, really, really believe it, and just have the faith, right? You just got to. I just had that self-belief from the beginning, and I knew that. It's going to pay off sooner or later. My old coach used to tell me, he goes, Lucas, you're going to fight your first 20 fights, you're going to make nothing. And your 21st fight, you're going to start making big money, and it's going to start rolling in right away.
Well, it came after 18.
It came after 18. It came a little sooner, so it's, happy about that. For sure.
I just want to touch you on one thing, Lucas, before we go. I mean, big fight, millions of views around the world. Last night, you had an event down at the Penn Center. Are you finding that there's more people? Did a lot of people come out and want to meet Lucas Bahdi now? Did you get recognized, like after the fight, walking the streets of Vegas? Did anybody say that's the guy?
Well, my the last fight was in Texas, but
sorry.
Yeah,
Texas.
Absolutely. I am definitely getting a lot more recognition now. People see my face and they start to recognize me, right? when you're at that stage where you're being televised and you're being, you're being shown on these major platforms, people start to realize, okay, that's that guy that scored that big knockout. That's the guy that was on the Mike Tyson undercard, right? So now I'm definitely starting to see that.
Yeah, I'll be honest, Lucas, and I think the sentiment would be the same for Lee. We are genuinely so happy for all your successes.
Absolutely.
And wish you nothing but greater success down the road. I'm so happy for you. You're just a dude from Niagara Falls that bet on himself, and here you are, so kudos.
Well done,
Thank
mate.
you, guys. Thank you guys so
And keep us up to date with what's going on. We'll stay in touch with you, and you're a good-looking man, so don't get hit too much, all right?
Thanks so much, guys. I appreciate it.
Take care.
Take care.
Wow, that is so awesome. That's and some people might call it arrogance or grandstanding or whatever, like back in the day of the Muhammad Ali float like a butterfly, sting like a bee kind of thing. I'm the prettiest boxer that ever lived, that kind of thing, and the bravado that goes along with it. And you can just see the tip of the iceberg there with Lucas in that. But he's not over the top with it. He's got self-belief. He's got confidence. He knows where he's going. He knows where he wants to go, and that is for moms and dads that are trying to coach their children in whatever it might be, just life in general, is believe in yourself and have the goal and work hard to get there, and anything is possible. Fabulous, just fabulous stuff. Joining us now, we got as I mentioned before, we got a full slate of folks coming on here. Niagara 411 Live Season 5, Episode 25 with Lee Sterry. Thank you to Nick and Nick's mom, by the way, for watching the program. Nick is the fellow behind, the creator and maintenance guy, and the guy that does all the work at the Facebook page of Niagara 411. And thank you to all the contributors as well for being a part of this program from time to time. Julie Grabb is the Rotary Auction Niagara representative here to join us today. She is the chair of the auction committee for the Rotary Auction Niagara, which starts today. Julie, hi. Can you hear us okay?
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
Awesome. Well, thanks for being here. And sorry if we kept you waiting for a little bit there. We got a full slate of folks on the program today. How are things going so far? Your auction just started today.
It did. It went live at midnight, and let me give you an exact update how things are going.
Okay.
The little thermometer is going, and it is up almost at $45,000 so far.
Already?
So that's amazing.
Wow.
First couple of days usually triggers a lot of bidding, and then it slows down for a bit until the last couple of days. So the bidding closes on Saturday, December 7th at 9 p.m.
All right. So, how long has this been going now? This has been a staple of Niagara for quite some time.
Yeah. So the online only version of the auction has been going. This is the second year, but before that, we partnered with Your TV, Kojiko, and it had a TV version for I want to say close to 20 years.
Yeah, I know it's been a long time. Mm-hmm. So, and of course, as technology and society progresses, we move more and more and more of these events to the online. So the online initiative has been successful for you?
It has, very much so. When the old auction had things closing every 15 or 20 minutes, there was always people saying, well, I can't be paying attention in exactly those 10 minutes, and I lost out on things because things closed.
Right.
So now we have everything closing at the same time, so you can come and go and you're bidding as you see fit. And we have over 800 unique items, many with multiple quantities. So I believe there's about 1,200 things you can bid on.
Now, on the screen right now that people are viewing while you and I are chatting, it says RotaryAuctionNiagara.com. Is that where we go to participate?
It is, and you can do .com or .ca.
Okay.
You can view the items, but if you want to bid, you have to register. You can have a look and just put a star on the things you want to pay attention to, so you don't have to scroll through 1,200 items every time you go in.
Right.
You can search by keywords. You can search by category. There's 29 different categories of things, and we have a highlighted page, which includes all of our Leaf tickets, our Sabres tickets, and our Ice Dogs boxes.
All right. Now, one of the things with any of these kinds of initiatives that sort of bubbles under the surface is most people kind of take for granted that it's there. Oh, I can go out and I can do the auction and I can, but I mean, the ground where you're chair of the committee. You must. How long does it take you to prepare for this thing? You've got thousands of items up there for auction.
Well,
I mean, getting these things donated and putting them up on the site. No, this is a yeoman's effort. This is a lot of work.
Yeah, we have a steering committee which has a representative from each of the 6 Rotary clubs in Niagara that's participating. That's St. Catharines South, Welland, Fonthill, and the 2 Niagara Falls clubs.
Right.
So it's not a singular effort. Each club is responsible for their own solicitation of donations, and some clubs do more than others. And, there's lots of different factors there.
Sure.
So as the steering committee technical lead, my job is to make sure everybody understands how the auction software in the background works to put up that really nice website. We put some standards together on descriptions and things like that and decide on the parameters. So last year was a huge learning curve going all online. This year, believe it or not, was surprisingly simpler. No big surprise. But the committee begins to meet in June, usually about every 3 or 4 weeks until August. And then the solicitation begins in earnest, usually late August, September.
Amazing that there are those kinds of businesses as well in Niagara that want to contribute to giving you items for the. How many items total? Do you have any concept of how many items?
Yeah, but there's almost 1,200, and each of the donor companies and organizations, they are noted on every single item that they donate. The company logo is hot linked to their website, so if you want to find out more information about any of those donors, just click on their logo. It'll take you there. And we have a donor page, which lists all of the donors in alphabetical order.
Wow,
we are very, very thankful to all the donors across the Niagara region.
Indeed, and just a wonderful technological machine behind all of this. The technology of these things, Julie, always amazes me in the fact that, wow, it's so seamless. You put the bid in, it comes back, and it's just... It's amazing what we are able to do with technology these days. So kudos to you and the organization. Have you got a goal? Do you set goals for, or you just let?
Well, we do. Last year we had a goal of 150,000 raised, and I think we got to 140 something.
Okay.
This year, and that was out of about $230,000 of donation value. This year we're down a bit on the donation value, which we're at about 185,000.
Okay.
And so, we put a goal of 120,000, which I think is very achievable. We've put some things in place that hopefully raise our percentage sort of recovered to value, which usually around 65-ish%.
Right.
But if we can raise that to 70 or 75%, then that'll be a great thing.
And these days when there is so much need in our community on so many different levels, and there are so many different financial and social challenges in the world in which we survive, that kind of initiative is amazing. And the Rotary clubs, Rotary in general around the world does fabulous work. And to bring it closer to home, those Rotary clubs here in Niagara, of which you said there are 6?
6 that are participating in the auction.
Right. Again, take great care when they distribute the money that they have been blessed with from donations and auctions like this are concerned. And kudos to you and all of the other Rotary clubs that participate in Niagara, because they do wonderful, wonderful work.
Yeah, thank you. And we can't do the work without events like this that do the fundraising. And this is right before the holidays. You can buy gifts. rather than going into the stores. I know my husband and I scour the list for gift cards for things that we would buy anyways.
Yeah.
Oil changes, dining out, home hardware, Home Depot. There's tons of things you would buy them anyway, so why not make it as a purchase with the funds going to the Rotary clubs?
So participate in the auction, ladies and gentlemen. It's underway right now, and it continues through till midnight on the 7th.
9 o'clock.
9 p.m. on December the 7th. RotaryAuctionNiagara.com. Julie Grabb, thank you very, very much. Congratulations on what I know is going to be another successful year, and thank you for your hard work, and you and all the supporters of the auction around Niagara. Thank you so much.
Thank you. My pleasure.
Thanks for being here.
Thanks.
A lot of great people working for a lot of needy people, Kevin, around Niagara. Speaking of which, let's talk about you for a moment. But enough about you. What do we think about you? WeeStream. You guys have been pretty busy as well. Another Niagara Falls City Council meeting last night. And,
very much so. They approved their budget last night, if you want to talk municipal politics. So I was kind of fly on the wall for that one. Coming up, not this coming Saturday, but the following Saturday, we'll be streaming the Grimsby Santa Claus Parade. So that's perfect.
That's always a big one for you guys.
It is, and it's perfect for anybody across Niagara who, for whatever reason, can't get out. Sometimes it's really cold standing there at the curb, waiting for the parade, waiting for Santa to roll down.
Yeah.
So we're going to be doing that a couple Saturdays from now. We just put together a couple of big bids. Hoping to stream some ball hockey, some national championships, some provincial championships coming up next year. So piecing together that bid, and of course, just looking ahead to the holidays. How about you, Lee? We don't ask you often enough what it is that you're up to. If people don't know, Lee does a lot of voice work. If you're scouring Amazon and you like audiobooks, there's a good chance that the next one you choose will have Lee's voice.
Yes, I think I'm upwards of about 55 or 60 titles that I have narrated on what is the Audible platform through Amazon over the last number of years. It's great fun. It's a little bit different than the usual work, like what I would normally do on the radio or here on a TV style show with Kevin and doing the live stuff, which is great fun. When you're narrating a book to become an audio book, you're working by yourself in the back in the corner in the dark for hours and hours and hours, and it's a different kind of mindset to create characters and create a story when you're all alone in your own little studio. And so it's an interesting line of work, but I enjoy the heck out of it. Met some fabulous people, and thanks for bringing that up, Kevin. www.leesterry.com if you want to check that out. All right. Now joining us on the program is a lady that has been here before. She's filled in as a host on this show for me before, and I can't let her keep doing that or I'm going to lose my job. Jessica Wilson is with us. We love her. She's been here so often, and it's got an exciting show coming up. Hi, Jess. How are you?
Hi, how are you?
I am great. I am terrific.
So I would never steal your job. I can never do what you do.
Well, you might not steal it, but somebody might give it to you, Kevin.
Thanks for having me on today.
Because I'm sure he'd rather work with you than me. But anyway, that's another story. What have you been up to lately?
That's a great question.
Thank you.
What a question that is. Yeah, have you done this before? Not your first rodeo, right?
Yeah.
I have been what feels like maybe the busiest person on the planet, although I know I'm not. It feels like it. I'm coming at you today from Toronto.
Okay.
I'm home right now, which I am not often home, but I'm not home, but I'm in my home. And I just finished a $1 Million Quartet with Tweeting Company. It was a musical. We ran basically all summer into the fall, and then I had some time off. And now we are doing big things with this tribute, which I think we're going to talk about today.
We are, and this is not the first time you've done the tribute, the Taylor Swift tribute. You've done this before. You're not just kind of climbing on the back of this tour. You've done this before.
I have done this before. So the tribute is called So What, Shake It Off. It's a tribute to Pink and Taylor Swift. My lovely Pink is Angela Seeger. She's amazing. Locals may know her from her shows at Cork. She's done Adele. She's done Annie Lennox. She's a great tribute artist and a great woman. She's amazing. And we have put together the show called So What, Shake It Off. We originally did it, oh my gosh, when did we do it? July, we debuted it at Cork's in Niagara-on-the-Lake, and it sold out so fast. And since then, things were kind of put on pause when I went and I toured for a bit, and she toured for a bit, and now we are back, and we are full-blown, super high demand right now, especially with the Eras tour just coming through Toronto.
Yeah.
Many shows, but we have one coming up on December 4th that we are super excited about that we are going to talk about today.
Yeah, December the 4th, you're coming back to your old alma mater, I understand.
I am Welland Centennial, which is where I went to high school many years ago, but not too many because I'm very young and just finished high school. Yes, I'm returning to Centennial, and I'm really excited. I'm working with some of the faculty that actually taught me when I was there. Not all of them, because it's been a very long time, but most of them. And we are bringing So What, Shake It Off to Centennial on December 4th.
And the show starts at 7 p.m. We have the graphic up on the screen just so that everybody can have a look at that while we're having our conversation. Doors open at 6:15. The show's Wednesday, December the 4th, and it happens at 7 o'clock. And where did the genesis of this concept begin for you? I mean, I know Taylor, of course, is a household name, has been for years, and especially after this Eras tour, she's, I guess, the hottest thing since Stovetop. You know, I mean, what are you going to do? But where did you start this? Like, when did you start thinking about this kind of stuff?
Yeah, so that's a great question. I have been asked to do Taylor Swift from many agencies and many companies, probably hundreds of times over the last 10 years. I never wanted to do it because I just didn't think it was the right time. I didn't have time. I obviously, you know, my full time is theater, and I'm very busy in that, doing professional productions. And I think for a really long time I was kind of stuck on the idea that I was being put in a box because I was a blonde singer who played guitar. And I felt very limited to that, and it didn't feel very good in the moment. And I just wanted to make sure that in doing this, I was working with the right people. And it never felt right. And then in the last year or so, I kind of had the idea of, like, you know what, I think it's time. Like, Taylor Swift is kind of developed as a human, I think, and is so much more now than just a singer, as a businesswoman, as a you know, we're really seeing Beatlemania 2.0. People will come for me for saying that. If you look at the numbers don't lie. And I knew I wanted to work with Ken because he had done tribute acts before. Ken Lamb, who is our booking manager for this, kind of oversees everything.
Okay.
I went to Ken and I said, you know, I want to do a Taylor Swift show. I think we should do a one-off at a winery. I think it would sell out. I couldn't get tickets to the Eras tour. Neither could 33 million other people. Let's do a show. And Ken said to me, what if we did a whole tribute? And I said, yeah, you know, I mean, well, maybe. And then he said, you know, I know this woman named Angela, and at the time Angela wanted to do a Pink. So Ken kind of introduced Angela and I, and together the three of us kind of thought of what if we did Taylor Swift and Pink? What if we appealed to moms and kids? Angela came up with the name So What, Shake It Off, and I kind of started developing the Taylor side, and she developed the Pink side, and then with Ken, you know, kind of an outlook into the business and just meeting the right people. So the three of us really became sort of a dream team, and it never felt right until now. And now we have a whole standing ovations tributes. It's kind of just blown up. The demand has been amazing. Angela has her Annie Lennox and her Adele, and she is so amazing. And it's kind of just right people, right time. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, no, it does, and it conjures up a lot of other questions for me. I could probably spend a couple of hours digging a little bit more deeply into the psyche of professional artists that do tribute shows, because back in the day, that means when I was young and not old, we used to call these shows impersonators. And then, like, I emceed more Elvis Presley tribute artists festivals than you could count in cities all across Canada. And they went from being impersonators to tribute artists. And I think tribute artists is kind of the way to do it. But I can understand your hesitancy a little bit to go into that arena until you were kind of comfortable in your own skin. Does that? It
wasn't. It wasn't really about me being comfortable in my own skin. I would say it was more just it didn't feel like the right time in general for myself, but also in the moment. I don't think that Taylor Swift herself had really reached peak. I think there were a lot of controversies over the last few years
right.
with things, and it happens to all artists. And I also knew that I couldn't do it alone. I didn't want to do it alone. It's not that I couldn't; it's that I didn't want to. And I'm so glad I did wait, because now that I waited, I've been so blessed and lucky to be working with Angela, who's one of the top tribute artists in the country, and Ken, who is one of the smartest booking people I've ever met in my life.
We're going to talk. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I'm just saying the timing was just, I wanted to wait, and thank God we did, because with the Eras Tour, it has exploded, and the demand for this tribute is out. We get 100 emails a day. It's insane.
Jess, we're going to talk about the show again in a minute and make sure that we give everybody all the down and dirty about how to get there and see you and all the rest of it. You are probably one of the best examples that I've run into personally over the last number of years that is a really hard-working professional entertainer, performer, singer, songwriter, musician. I mean, you do this full time. You're a pro, and you're. I guess what I'm trying to say is it's like your full-time job that a lot of it's not like a movie star where you go you're Lady Gaga that does a $10 million movie or something. I mean, you work hard at this every single day. For young girls that are watching this program or may hear from you in the future, and somebody that might want to follow in your footsteps, what kind of advice, how did you get to where you are? How do you help people get there?
I'm so glad you asked this question. I think I have a really great support system of family and friends. I have the same best friends that I've had for the last 10, 15 years. My family's always been very supportive. I realize not everybody is so lucky to have that. So that obviously helped. But also, I think anybody who's watching this, it's so scary. For sure, it's scary going in, especially in the arts, especially post-COVID. You don't know, you really have to want it. You have to want it. Really, really, really want it, because you're going to be told no a million times, and you're going to be told how to do your job, and you're going to have to work with people that maybe don't appreciate your talent and stuff like that. But as long as you know that you can't not be doing this career, you have to want it more than anything. And it takes time. I think a lot of people see this Taylor Swift coming out now, and they're like, oh, it's overnight. Who's Jessica Wilson? And it's no. People like you who have seen me for I'm 28 now. I've been doing this since I was 14. I think I had my first gig when I was 14. And I'm just now starting to have offers come in where I maybe don't have to audition, or having booking people that wouldn't have even looked at me 5 years ago in places outside the Niagara region. It takes time, and it takes dedication, and if I would have stopped when I was told no the first 1,000 times, then I would probably be doing something else. But I never thought about that, because I can't be doing anything else. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. I don't know. If you're watching this and you want to do it, just do it. Do it, and don't let people tell you no. And if they tell you no, then they're not important, and keep doing your thing.
Yeah, Jess, I'm just going to add, because I know these are things that you're not going to say about yourself, but I mean, I've met lots of people in this industry over time, and characteristics that you exude: be friendly, be professional, be supportive, not jealous, and be kind.
That's a big one. Oh boy, don't be jealous, be kind.
Yeah,
Well, you're sure all of those.
Oh, thanks, guys. Wow. Should come on more often. Thank you.
The Taylor Swift / Pink tribute show here in Welland Secondary School. Jessica Wilson's alma mater. Jess is coming home to do the show. 7 o'clock. Curtain time, as they say. 6 o'clock, the doors open. How much are the tickets? What are we paying? I couldn't read the screen. What are we paying for these tickets?
I will give you the details. I will give you the gossip and the tea. So
all right, okay.
I believe it's you can buy them online or at the door. I'm telling anybody watching right now, buy them online. There may not be tickets at the door. Buy them online. Buy your tickets ahead of time. All of so half the proceeds are going back to the Centennial Arts Program, which is the most important part of this whole thing, because without the arts program, I wouldn't be sitting here right now. Tickets are $5 for students, $10 for adults, I believe. And you can buy them online, and that will include a 2-hour show. And we will do photos. We will do meet and greet at the end of the show. This is the closest thing you're going to get to a really accurate Pink and Taylor without forking out tens of thousands of dollars. It's a family-friendly show, so it's all ages. So you can bring your kids. We're censoring the songs, and we have some of the arts. We have the arts with lights and sound. We have the dance team and dance classes have been choreographed beautifully by Kim Wilde. It's going to be a spectacle. So get your tickets online. Half the proceeds going back to Centennial Arts and their spring production of Mean Girls, the musical, which is so important to me. So even if you are not a Swiftie or maybe you're not a Pink fan, come out. We've had so many people come out that leave the show saying, I don't actually really like Taylor Swift. I don't really like Pink. I had a great time. Come out. Bring friends, bring family.
I love Pink, and I have great respect for Taylor Swift. I mean, there are some, these are the ages of very, very powerful women in the entertainment music. Pink, Taylor Swift, Lady Gaga, Adele. Very, very powerful, incredibly talented women setting the bar so high when it comes to quality singing and entertainment. And God bless them all. And you kind of made me giggle a little bit when you said, I felt I wasn't ready because Taylor Swift wasn't ready. Taylor Swift wasn't yet big enough for me to do a tribute show. That's kind of cool. I know. I know you. I have to correct because I will have the Swifties are being one. The Swifties are crazy, so I need to correct myself. But I mean that in the best way. I know you did. I drink the Kool-Aid. I'm there. I meant in the sense where she had just done. She hadn't done the Eras tour, and nobody could have seen this coming. But I knew there were bigger things for her. I didn't really want to put you on the spot. I was just kidding you, actually. No, I know you were kidding, but there's going to be, I always get a message. There's going to be a message of someone, so I have to plead my case. Okay. But you know what I mean? And thank God I did wait, because 6 sold-out shows at the Rogers Center. That's like 33 million people waiting. I don't think, we've had the Stones, we've had the Rod Stewarts, we even had Elvis Presley once entertaining Canada. We've had many, many, many big acts. I don't think I can, and I've been in this. I've been around the entertainment business for well over 50 years now, and I don't think there has ever been a bigger entertainment phenomenon than this Taylor Swift group of concerts. I don't think there's ever been anything this big. It's and people will roll their eyes, like I said earlier, but it is Beatlemania 2.0. As somebody who was here for I live across the street from the Rogers Center, they had probably 20,000 people, I'm not even joking, lined up outside the stadium, trying to get tickets, trying to listen when they left the doors open for people. Like, it's blown up, and if you're like me and couldn't get tickets, then Welland Centennial on December 4th is going to be the first thing you come to the Eras tour. We will. Jessica Wilson, thank you so much. We love you to death. And I love you guys to death. And I sorry I have some fun with you sometimes, but it's all in good fun. I love it. And congratulations on putting this show together. And again, with your friend. I think you're going to do great. And considering, well, going to do great, you've already done great. But so are you taking, you said the one local date. Are you doing other dates of this show someplace?
We are. We have lots of exciting opportunities for 2025 that we are sworn to secrecy right now.
Okay.
I will say, if you saw the show at Corks or you saw one of our earlier shows, the show has grown so much. This is going to be the closest thing to a full production concert that we've really had so far. And in the new year, you probably will not be able to see this show for like less than double what these tickets are. So
I'm not surprised.
Yeah, no, the demand for 2025 is looking insane. You're about to hear a siren. You can really tell I live downtown Toronto, so sorry about that. But yeah, this will be the closest, the cheapest you will ever see this show, because after this show in 2025, we have some really, really, really exciting things happening that I can't say, but just take my word.
Well, make sure you keep us in the loop, okay?
I will, yeah, and post the poster and bring the kids out and donate to the arts program.
We're excited for you. So have a ball on December the 4th, and as always, thanks for being here on the show. And you make sure that you stay busy, because I don't want you sitting in this chair too often.
You know what? I actually love, every once in a while, it's very nice to take over for you. So next time you take a vacation, you let me know.
Okay. You take care of yourself, Jess. Always a pleasure.
Thanks, guys. Have a great day.
Yeah, you too. What a wonderful, down-to-earth lady. And a true star is Jessica.
Yeah, I gotta grab my tickets tonight.
Yeah.
Like, you kidding me? $5, $10? Go see that show, which he's talking about, full production. It's gonna be fantastic.
Gales Gaspars Limited, Sandra's Home Healthcare, Virgin Insurance Group, Ace Alignment, Equal Wellness Services, and For Everything Apple in St. Catharines, the Mac Outpost on Lake Street. I didn't have an opportunity to talk as much about our sponsors today as I should have or would have liked to have, but our appreciation for your support knows no bounds. Kevin, we always have a musical guest to play us off the stage, as we say, at the end of this program, and I guess we're just about there. Kevin, Jack, thank you. It's always a pleasure working with you, and wow, it's been a busy show for you.
Nothing more appropriate to leave us with than with some classic Jessica Wilson. It's an original of hers and an official music video for Ego, and I actually love the song. All
right, Jess Wilson to play us off the stage. Don't forget, December 4th, the Taylor Swift and Pink tribute, Welland Secondary School in Welland. Check them out. Have fun. December, we'll see you next. See you in a couple of weeks. Bye.